Hello? Okay, testing. Okay, our next panel moderation will start in 1 minute exactly. And I'm going to be presenting it right now. So sit tight for those of you who want to stay here and listen and keep listening. Something else is coming up. So thank you, Xavier. Yesterday we talked a lot about becoming more independent in the clean energy sourcing. So to further develop the nuclear industry, we need to keep diving on local presence and local stability. But how can we anchor the nuclear system locally in a new region? We need to first gain the feasibility and the responsibility of nuclear power through economic, social, and sustainable dynamics. In the whole African continent, for example, there's only one nuclear reactor, and that is in Cape Town, South Africa. That's precisely where our next moderator comes from. She is the founder of Africa for Nuclear, and she came to help us explore one specific solution to achieve the efficient establishment, stability, and presence of local reactors. This solution is called Digitalization. Here to guide the following session, please welcome Princess Mutombeni.
Distinguished participants, industry leaders, esteemed speakers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is an absolute honor to welcome you to this panel session where I embark on a profound exploration of the nuclear industry's future. This panel is a convergence of brilliant minds dissecting pivotal themes of territorial development, sustainable progress, and the dynamic landscape of digitalization. Our distinguished speakers, ranging from local representatives to European Parliament members, chief executive officers, entrepreneurs, and political visionaries, embody the diversity of perspectives crucial for shaping the industry's trajectory. Together, we aim to unravel the impact of nuclear projects for territorial landscapes and navigate the intricate path of sustainable development and illuminate the journey, the transformative power of digitalization on our nuclear future. This discourse is not only confined to borders, but it resonates globally, addressing the industrial and international audience of the World Nuclear Exhibition here in Paris. So let the dialogue begin, a collaborative journey towards advancing nuclear energy industry through innovation, cooperation, and visionary insights. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce our speakers, and as I introduce them, they will come on stage. In the realm of territorial development, we have an honor of hearing from Mr. Jérôme Dumont, the president of the Muse department in France, where the unique ANDRA project of CIEGO, a repository for nuclear waste, is going to be located. Welcome, Jérôme. And on the industrial aspect of the CIEGO project, we have Mr. Patrice Torres, Director of Industrial Operations at ANDRA. Patrice will shed the light on the impact of nuclear projects, regional landscape. We are also joined by Mr. Christophe Grudler, a distinguished member of the European Parliament. Welcome. And transitioning to sustainable development, we are honored to gain a perspective from Dr. Massimo Gariba, Deputy Director General of Energy Department at the European Commission. We are also privileged to have Ms. Estelle de Roche, Chief Executive Officer at EDF site life. She'll guide us through the stakes and challenges inherent in ensuring the sustainability of the industry. In the dynamic realm of digitalization, entrepreneurs and digital visionaries take center stage. So we are happy to hear from Mr. Jules Babinet, a driving force in the French Digital Council. Lastly, we are grateful to be joined by Mr. Vincent Champer, Senior Executive Vice President and Chief IT and Digital Officer at Framatome Group. Vincent will share perspectives that transcend technological boundaries. We hope our speakers' insights will illuminate the transformative power of territorial and sustainable development, as well as digitalization in advancing the nuclear industry. Without further ado, let's go straight to the questions, and I'll go take my seat. Thank you so much and welcome everyone. I'll start by Jerome with the first question. Jerome, I'm sure Muse Department would welcome an industrial project of national interest in its territory. Since this project is linked with the support of nuclear procedure, the ANDRA installations are located in Bior, in Muse. Please tell us how the presence of ANDRA since 1999 has impacted your territory, particularly its local development dynamics these last 15 years.
Bien, merci. Finalement, pourquoi un élu local, président de conseil départemental, intervient ici au WNE devant l'ensemble de la filière nucléaire et devant les grands donneurs d'ordre? Mais finalement, un président de département, un élu local, c'est un entrepreneur d'une certaine manière qui veut développer son territoire. Et face au développement de nos territoires, nous sommes face à des défis qui sont nombreux face à nous. Des défis climatiques, les défis énergétiques, le défi des nouvelles compétences, de la féminisation des métiers de l'industrie. Et sur notre territoire, nous avons la chance d'avoir un organisme dont je suis le président, le GIP Objectif Meuse, qui a été créé il y a une vingtaine d'années en lien avec le projet CIGEO qu'on vous présentera tout à l'heure. Pour relever ces défis, nous travaillons depuis une quinzaine d'années maintenant sur un certain nombre de thématiques. Ça a été dit tout à l'heure en introduction par le président du GIFEN. Un des défis est celui de la formation. Formation initiale, et nous avons mis en place avec le GIP, Objectif Meuse, une plateforme de soudage et de chaudronnerie dans un lycée professionnel à proximité du projet CIGEO pour former des soudeurs et pour former aux futurs métiers du nucléaire. Sur la formation continue, nous avons facilité l'implantation d'un organisme de formation que nous connaissons bien en France, qui est celui de l'UMM, un bâtiment qui va permettre d'accueillir les jeunes et qui s'adapte aux nouvelles formations, notamment dans le domaine industriel, parce que nous avons le nucléaire, mais nous avons toutes les industries indirectes qui sont liées à la filière. Et puis, et ça c'est en lien notamment avec un des acteurs du nucléaire qui est Orano, et dans le cadre de la formation continue, et avec l'Université de Lorraine et l'École des mines de Nancy, nous avons mis en place le POCES, c'est le pôle de compétences en milieu souterrain, pour former les salariés et entreprises aux futurs métiers et aux métiers notamment du milieu souterrain qui est important pour notre territoire. Ça, c'est le premier axe. Le deuxième axe, c'est celui de la structuration de notre réseau d'entreprises. Et depuis maintenant 20 ans, ils sont présents dans la salle, nous avons aidé à la structuration du réseau économique avec notamment le financement de l'association Énergique 52-55 qui rassemble une centaine d'entreprises. Et dans ces entreprises, on a les grandes entreprises, des startups, des PME, mais également des organismes de formation. Et puis maintenant, depuis une vingtaine d'années, sur notre territoire, nous accueillons, et je l'ai déjà dit, les grands donneurs d'ordre que sont par exemple EDF, plusieurs représentants sont ici présents évidemment, et il y a maintenant une petite dizaine d'années, nous avons eu la chance d'accueillir sur notre territoire la plateforme de stockage des pièces de rechange de toutes les centrales nucléaires. C'est plus de 6 millions de pièces qui sont entreposées en Meuse. L'investissement initial a été aidé par le GIP Objectif Meuse. Et ça, c'est l'expérience que nous avons de l'accueil de la filière. Je donnerai un dernier exemple. Avec le CEA, nous avons mis en place une expérimentation dans un domaine qui touche tous les Français, mais l'ensemble des populations, qui est le domaine de la santé. Et avec 2 autres territoires français, la Haute-Marne, la Meurthe-et-Moselle et la Meuse, nous expérimentation des solutions numériques. Ça permettra de faire le lien aussi avec une prochaine intervention, de ce qu'on appelle e-Meuse Santé, où on peut développer des expérimentations en termes de santé connectée et de télémédecine. Pour conclure mon propos pour cette première question, je voudrais vous dire que l'histoire entre le territoire meusien et la filière nucléaire, c'est d'une certaine manière France 2030 avant l'heure, dans notre département, dans notre territoire. Et nous permettons de répondre à 2 défis, celui de la transition énergétique. On a évoqué tout à l'heure dans l'introduction la décarbonation. C'est un enjeu qui est important, j'y reviendrai tout à l'heure. Mais aussi le déploiement de grands projets technologiques et industriels dans un territoire, dans nos territoires et notamment en milieu rural.
Thank you so much, Jerome. I think ANDRA projects deserve to be in every country. I would also welcome it in my country. Moving on to Patrice Torres. Patrice, the CIEGO project is a long-term project that has not yet been authorized, I believe. What would you say are the key elements that make it possible to establish territorial development now?
Thank you, Princess. So before I answer your question, let me give you some information about the project and the CIGO project. So it's a project of a deep geological repository to take care of the high-level and long-lived intermediate-level waste produced in France. This project is located in the border of 2 departments, le département de la Meuse, of course, where the President Dumont is coming, and the department of Haute-Marne. This project is the result of more than 30 years of research, but also more than 30 years of a democratic process in France. All this work was made by, of course, the government, the producer of the waste, and the French agency, which had to take care of the nuclear waste. This project is developed on the framework set by the Parliament and recently achieved different important milestones as the recognition of the public interest, that was in 2002, but also the submission of the creation authorization request in last January. And we can hope, because we start a very long process of technical instruction, we can hope maybe an authorization for the year 2027. Of course, because we passed some very important milestones, it's now a pivotal moment for the project, of course, but also for the territory, as we discussed with Mr. Dumont answer. Why? And now I'm going to answer to your question. What are the key? Maybe the first one is the fact that we are on this territory for more than 20 years now. And we built all together trust. We had to be transparent, humble, to be able to listen and to be able to discuss. Why? Because a project at the CIGO project is, of course, a project with safety issue, technical issue, but before all, or maybe at the same level of the safety, it's a human project issue, a territorial human and a territorial project issue too. And we have to remember that the MEUS department, as the Otmar department, were not used to the nuclear field. They don't have any nuclear power plant, they don't have waste facilities. So one of the first key was to build with them, let's say, a nuclear culture or enough nuclear culture to be able to understand the issue. That was the first point. To do so, of course, we open our different facilities, we communicate a lot, and we share information. Another key was to involve the residents and the local official in the project and to discuss and to consult on everything we can. Of course, not on the safety part, because you need to be a professional to be to take part of those types of decisions. But plenty of other issues or things in the project can be discussed with the local politician, for example, and to decide with them where do we have to build those parts of the facilities. Why it's better to build some road here. If we need electricity, if we need water, how can we work together to be able to use the fact that we will make some invest on the territory to help also the other part and the other user in the territory to benefit of those investments. We also, and Mr. Dumont explained about that, we had to work with all the local company to help them to reach the standard we need in the nuclear field. It's easy to say, it's hard to do, and thanks to Energic to be there. So they work together, they try to make network between the local company and the big national or international company, and thanks for that to, of course, EDF, CEA, and Orano, who use their huge network on the nuclear field, but more than this field, to help the territory to be ready to welcome a project at the CIGO project. And the last two things that I want to say about the key and the important thing was to empowering the region by providing the means to act and meet the need of the CIGO project and the project. Mr. Dumont explained about the public interest group, which was created by the government in both departments, and the government, let's say the producer of the waste, had to give important amount of money to the territory to help them to prepare the territory regarding the infrastructure issue or the development of training as it was discussed. And another really important point, it's a project with a national issue, we can even say international, but also local issue. And we have to be sure that the link between the local and the national level will continue with those projects, with those types of projects, which are projects with a very long-term issue. We have to be sure to build a strong relationship between the local and the national level, and that can be done with what we call a decision-making body, which is a high-level committee bringing together the energy ministry, waste producers, elected officials from different levels, and that's are really, really, really important. And the last point was to build all together what we call the Territory Development Plan, which is like a list of the strategic development needed in the territory to be ready to welcome the project or to help the territory to build a better future.
Thank you so much, Petrus. Those are very important key elements. What I take is that this is a project for the people and by the people, which is very important. I will move to Christophe. Thank you for joining us. Please help us understand how territorial development strategies can be tailor-made or tailored in order to ensure a harmonious integration of nuclear industry, considering the unique assets and specificities of different regions while fostering a virtuous cycle of development and attractiveness.
Thank you very much, Princess. Thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to come here for this most important event on nuclear in the world. Indeed, about your question, territorial development is essential when it comes to industry. You cannot install production capacity just anywhere. It is particularly true when it comes to nuclear power generation. A number of geographical factors have to be taken into account, such as access to a source of water for cooling the reactors, for example. You also have to take into account access to the grid and capitalize on existing infrastructure, which means being near the communities without being too close. And it's sometimes a pity for cooling grids because nuclear plants are very far away from the cities, for example. They are not the only parameters required for the harmonious integration of the nuclear industry. We also need to take into account the regional specificities that would represent an advantage for the nuclear sector. Regions with an industrial fabric and an economy already oriented towards industrial production are strategic areas for advancing nuclear production. I'm thinking in particular on my home region, Franche-Comté, Belfort, which is one of the largest industrial regions in France, with a long history of expertise in the energy, automotive, and rail sectors. The region is also home to major energy production equipment groups. Its historical know-how supported by local authorities, research laboratories, universities, and regional agencies contributes to a robust ecosystem that attract new industries or new opportunity. But this virtuous cycle only comes into play if the political willingness and financial support are there. And Europe is playing a key role on this, in this regard. On the funding level first, through European funds, such as Horizon Europe for research and development. We would have a nice fund that name is European Regional Development Funds. It can help only for infrastructure, not directly for nuclear energy. It's a pity because, unfortunately, the legislators decided in the past not to allow regional funds for nuclear power. And they did the same thing with the Just Transition Fund in order to go away from coal on gas. But we have also Connecting Europe facility. The EU participates in financing infrastructure, new training courses for future professionals, supporting targeted state aid with important projects of common European interest, IPCEI. We can see, for example, the success of the European Clean Hydrogen Alliance on all the projects supported all over Europe, more than 250 projects in 20 member states on 50 billion euros of private investment expected. We can hope the similar success for the upcoming Industrial Alliance for SMRs. Second, on the political level, through directives and regulations encouraging the production of nuclear-generated electricity and setting ambitious targets for renewable energy and low-carbon energy at the same level. It's very important. I strongly believe we need both types of energy to achieve carbon neutrality. Carbon neutrality lies in technological neutrality. It's very important. In this respect, things are moving in the right direction. I am happy to see a new interest in nuclear technologies among the EU institutions and other member states. Indeed, the European Commission and the member states are increasingly included the atom in their decarbonization strategy, facilitating access to investment, for example, with taxonomy, with the Net Zero Industry Act, as I was rapporteur on, for my political group, and I put inside all the nuclear. Also, electricity market design. It's not finished, but I'm sure we find the 13th of December the last solution for all nuclear energy. Step up administrative procedures, RED, Renewable Energy Directive for hydrogen, Net Zero Industry Act, and also the EU Industrial Alliance for SMR, as I talked before. I am also dedicated to prioritize production in Europe and not promoting energy imports. It's very important for our territories and better for our strategic autonomy.
Thank you so much, Christophe. Yes, I believe that we can achieve anything when there's political will. And you are saying carbon neutrality lies in technological neutrality. And Massimo was agreeing with you, by the way, as you were speaking. And let me come to you, Massimo. I think I'd like to ask you to share your brief perspective on what has been said by the previous speakers, particularly Christophe, as you were agreeing with him. Just touch on a little bit on that. But also, I would like you to elaborate more on how nuclear energy contributes to decarbonization and meeting climate targets, while also addressing the security and affordability of energy supply in Europe, especially taking into consideration the advanced legal framework on nuclear safety under Euratom and European international engagement in this regard.
Thank you, Princess. This is a complex question, what you ask me. Let me start by saying, first of all, that what I heard from our colleagues of the territories is very important. I mean, nuclear installations are based in the territories. They rely on the people of the territories, and they have to be connected to them. So this is somehow a prerequisite for having a success in being able to position the installations and so on. We, on our side, and we can speak later about this, but I just want to say that we have consistently connected to, for example, the municipalities that host nuclear installations, and very recently in the NF, the Nuclear Energy Forum in Bratislava, we had representatives and discussions with the people that in Sweden are preparing to host a high-level waste repository. So this is very, very important that is kept in mind, because then you speak about climate change, but climate change
is something that touches the territories. It's something that comes in the gardens of the people with the amount of rain, with the amount of, with the lack of rain sometimes that we experience. So it's very important that this is all humanized and not let at a technocratic level. The objective of the EU is net zero by 2050, and we have a trajectory that goes through 2030, and now we will start to discuss what we do by 2040, so that it's not only, you know, a distant goal, but it is actually a stepwise path that we have towards the net zero. And in the discussion, I think that it is becoming more and more evident one thing. I said it yesterday when I was participating in another panel, but I think is fundamental to stress. If we are going to do a full transition to net zero, we need to use each and every technology that helps. Renewables are going to be the backbone of the European energy system, but the base load has to be as well low carbon. And the base load is going to be nuclear. I mean, the Commission, since when we published the 2050 scenarios in 2017, has put very clear that we will need at least the same amount of nuclear that we have now in the grid by 2050. So it's decarbonization, it is also security of supply, as you mentioned yourself, and it is not competition among energy sources. I think that these three things are very important to look at together, because, as my good friend Christoph Gludrer said, technological neutrality goes very much in hand with the net zero agenda. And this is why in the past year, and following also the large crisis that we had in Europe on energy prices, potentially energy supply with the invasion of the Ukraine from Russia, we had to review a number of basics. One of the basics is the electricity market design. And the discussion that we are having now, that the institutions, the Council and the Parliament are having now on the electricity market design, is how to ensure that the industry gets the right investment signals, so that the types of energy that we need to go to the net zero are actually incentivized altogether to be on the grid. I think this is fundamental. And it is one, let me say, asset test where we will see whether, as you said, Christoph, whether in Europe we are moving indeed to a coherent path towards the future. There are other acts that are needed. The Taxonomy Complementary Delegated Act is one of those, because it facilitates the private investments. And it is now fully into force, and again we will need to start testing how it is implemented, and we will also see how the technological neutrality will actually be reflected in the Net Zero Industrial Act. Let me conclude, Princess, by saying one thing. The European Commission has traditionally paid lots of attention to nuclear safety, and all which has to do with nuclear has to be done under two conditions. One is that the safety levels that we apply are the best that we have, and this is where we have to strive all the time. And the second one is that we take care of the legacy that we have, and this is what our colleagues of ANDRA are doing in France as far as waste management is concerned, because this is, of course, what we need to pass to the future generation, a sustainable future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Massimo. I think he touched on the very important issue of energy sources not competing with each other, but instead complementing each other. And I think that's how we are going to achieve the sustainable future, especially in this energy industry. And that brings me to the next question to you, Estelle. Please tell us, in order to ensure a sustainable future for nuclear industry, it's important that we deal with issues relating to the construction of new reactors, extending the life of existing reactors, but also a third pillar relating to the end of the life cycle of shutting down facilities and waste management. How are we addressing this issue today, and what obstacles do we anticipate in the future?
Thank you for that huge question, I would say. Not easy to tackle it in a few minutes, but as you said, the end of life of existing and shut down reactor, and also the management of radioactive management is a key subject for the sustainability of nuclear, but also for the acceptability of nuclear, especially in the context of the construction of new reactors. So we have to demonstrate that you are able to close the cycle of our nuclear industry, I would say. We have a solution. I think it's important to tell it and to show it. Concerning waste, we have already developed a concrete solution. We have also some solution under development and being developed in the near future, especially for ultimate waste. There is perhaps a challenge that I would like to show or to point is the question of volume reduction for waste. It's also a key question, and once again on that subject, I think we need a commitment for a stronger and stronger circular economy approach for nuclear materials. And I will take the example of metallic waste. Solutions are existing. You have an illustration on the picture behind me with concrete solution with very big factor of volume reduction when we speak about metallic waste. Is the example of steam generator treatment, cutting and melting in our facility in Sweden. So solutions are existing today, but the volume of metallic waste we have in front of us in the next 3 decades is colossal. We will have to treat or to deal with 1 million tons of metallic waste in that period. So we need some industrial new capacity. And it is that kind of project that you have to build also with territories, I think. For example, today, Cyclife built an extension of its facility in Sweden to double the capacity. Tomorrow in France, there will be a new facility to do that kind of operation in the east of France, a project called Technocentre. And for that kind of subject, we cannot imagine to do it alone without territories. For example, in Sweden, we work a lot to embed the supply chain during the construction phase, but also to motivate them around the recycling of material, which is a key issue in that case. And we work a lot also with what we call in Sweden municipalities around the key question of skills and resources, which will be crucial for the nuclear energy. Working with them on learning and a recruitment process to embed people in our teams. Concerning dismantling, it's another big subject, I would say. We have more than 200 reactors already shut down, so a big amount of work to do. Once again, there are existing solutions, especially for LWR reactors, and we have already demonstrated the feasibility of the dismantling of that kind of reactor in some countries over the world. But we have some technologies which are more complicated, some facilities which are not easy to dismantle. So we have also to imagine the solution for this kind of project. And perhaps to go to the other subject of the roundtable, for 10 years now, we have advanced technology which help a lot for this kind of project, especially robotics, but also a numerical solution which allow us to manage, I think, more efficiently the risks which are linked with that kind of project with big uncertainties, and which allow also to do it in a safer way for our workers. So I think it's very interesting in that work table to show what this advanced technology can bring to that kind of industry, which can be seen as rustic, but benefits from these new technologies.
Thank you, Estelle. You speak a lot about technologies, complicated technologies, advanced technologies, and that brings us to the next question, and it goes directly to you, Joel. We live in an era of digitalization, and as an entrepreneur in the space and someone who understands the intricacy of nuclear projects, and also having heard from other speakers, please explain to us how can machine learning be effectively applied to enhance the complexities of nuclear energy, specifically in areas such as simulation, supply chain management, predictive maintenance, and security and operation.
Hello everyone. Thank you, Princess and WNE, for having me. I'm very pleased to be here to talk about, I would say, the convergence in between the digital field and the nuclear sector as well. Some may wonder what is common in between those two, and I think it's quite interesting. If I can have my slide over there, that would be wonderful. I think it's interesting to understand that over time, the nuclear energy is less and less efficient. Actually, it's a reality. If you look at the cost, it's been increasing. The previous cost of production was probably like around 40 euro per megawatt, per gigawatt, and now it's like probably twofold. So it's increasing significantly, and it's actually something that we are seeing as well in the building construction industry. In the US, the increase of, so this is not my slide, by the way. These are the slide of Vincent, who is very happy to have a slide displayed, but if you can shift it to the other presentation, that would be wonderful. Thank you. So I was just saying, we are seeing a very clear increase of the prices of building construction overall in the world. In the US, the increase over like a span of like 30 years is 40%. It's the only economical sectors that can see an increase of its prices of that fold. It goes completely against the, I would say, generic trend of productivity, which is increasing. And in the construction field, the productivity is decreasing. And I would suspect that in the nuclear field, the productivity is even more decreasing. So there was some research to try to assess and understand why is the price going up. And if you can bring me up my slide, that would be really wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm Gilles Babinet. You may find it somewhere. Thank you. So the rationale, what we found in the US for the reason of this increase of construction price is mostly regulation, compliance, security norms in general, and also the transmission of technical knowledge in between generations. So things that you know in the nuclear field, you have exactly the same problems in there. And what is interesting is that you know, when we touch upon machine learning, AI in general, you really have a tool which is excellent to address these issues. You can help producing everything which is bureaucratic and the workflows of papers that are complex to do. LLM and generative AI is especially good at it, and that's a big part of the hassles, the difficulties which is experienced in the construction field. And you can also have knowledge systems that would basically swallow the experience of one worker and be able to bring it back to the next one, the one who will come after. So these technologies are just, I would say, beginning to be used in general terms. There are big issues such as security, such as duplications, and I think that what I would want to advocate for is, along with your industry, to create an ecosystem of software makers, machine learning experts that are dedicated to the nuclear field. If we don't do that, we'll have huge issue of productivities. The productivities will keep going down, the cost will increase, and it will be even more difficult to resume, I would say, an efficient way of making this field work. So it's key. It means that we need to have coders that understand the nuclear industry, that we need to have venture funds which finance this software industry in general, that we have like players overall that are ready to try new experiences and to really beta test with these new startups. And I think that there is no such a better place to advocate for this. I think if we take time to build this ecosystem, it will be more difficult for anyone in here to see, I would say, a proper relaunch of this industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gilles. We do apologize for your slide missing. I don't know what happened. Thank you so much. We are going to move to you, Vincent. As we try to address this issue of advancing nuclear industry, you heard from Gilles, through digitalization, we know that more digital can also mean more cybersecurity risks. How do you think we should address that?
Thank you very much, Princess. Very happy to be there. First, I just wanted, and that's the next slide. Yes. I just wanted to show you the importance of digital on the new nuclear. So what you have here is an extract of the NER report called Red Cost. Red Cost report is about how you reduce the cost from first of a kind, that is the first reactors that are being done in Flamanville, Okiloto, or in Vogtle, to the nth of a kind, so when you have more series. And what you see here is the actual cost, and there you have the final cost. And all the steps are the way you can reduce the cost along the way. And what you see is in green the steps which are digital related. So what will we do to reduce the cost of nuclear energy? First, we'll improve the way we do project management. And for that, there are still today lots of paper, and we are massively investing in digital to improve extended enterprise and project management. Then, of course, we need more regulation and stability. This is more regulation than digital. But after that, we need also to have a faster cycle to take the learning, the return of experience, and use the series effect. And again, for that, software such as PLM will help a lot. Then what we need to do, we need to improve the way we do design. So again, that's about standardization. That's about having tools helping you to design new power plant using standard bricks. And again, digital will be instrumental for that.
We also need to improve process and use innovation. And then lots of this innovation will be about digital. We also need to revisit the way we interact on regulation. And I know all the speakers here have experienced this. And if you talk to regulators, they tell you the same thing. Today, when we're delivering a steam generator, that's a part that makes 500 tons, 30 meters, the amount of documentation you're delivering is equivalent to 15 times the largest novel in the French literature, that is Recherche du temps perdu by Proust. And I can ensure you that it is not Proust at all. So of course, there are a lot of things we can do on this interaction for the good, for the industrial, but also for the regulators. And last thing, it's about harmonizing, licensing, code and standards. This is very important. And for example, that's also why regulation agencies try to work commonly at the European level. So now, overall, if you take the sum from the reduction, you see that the vast majority of this cost reduction will be digital. Now, and yes, it's working. And that is the next slide. What is nuclear doing? So, in fact, you probably don't know it, but in fact, nuclear has been an advanced digital user for decades. What you see here are the first computers. These were analog computers, so not even digital. So we were doing digital twins when the world did not even exist. So we did digital twins before digital twins. The second picture is a Cray supercomputer. For many years, Framatome has been the first customer of Cray in France. That is the most use of supercomputer were for nuclear. And what you see here is Kronos, the new supercomputer used both by EDF and Framatome. And if you run Kronos for 1 year, you can build 3 GPT-3 with the processing power you have with Kronos. So that's a lot of things. Now, what will we do with that? Now we'll need to catch up after years of investment freezing. During the so-called nuclear winter, investment has been slowed down, so now we need to catch up. We need to catch up to manage recruitment and compliance. So export control, LGBT protection, the way you handle this can be much more digital. We need to catch up with data analysis, business intelligence, data intelligence, leveraging AI, sovereign AI. There are a lot of things we're doing today and we'll do even more tomorrow. We need to improve the way we're managing workflows. So the way we're working in extended enterprise today, that's my 15 volume of Proust example, we still can do lots of digital on that. We need to improve engineering. That's advanced engineering using PLM, CAD, but also to leverage AI, not for the certification, because the certification needs to be exact science validated by determinist software, but to explore different design options. And once you have your option, then you use deterministic methods, of course. We still need to invest also in manufacturing. The rollout of MES, better planning, it's a key improvement to ensure we reduce the cost for nuclear. And last point, of course, on cybersecurity, because all this technology brings lots of improvement, huge increase in productivity, and will help us divide the cost of nuclear by 2, but they also bring new risks that need to be handled. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vincent. It sounds complicated for a layman like me, but yeah, Massimo will help uncomplicate it. Coming back to you, Massimo, what is your experience with cybersecurity in the nuclear industry? And how does Europe directives and Euratom Treaty ensures transparency, public consultation, and environmental impact assessment for nuclear projects, considering the increasing interest in small modular reactors for decarbonization in local heavy industries by EU member states?
Thank you, Princess. I'll try to be brief on this other question. Let me say 2 things. First of all, one, let me go back to the territories and the link to that. We have a need of full transparency of what needs to be done. And we have 2 instruments in the EU. One is through the safety legislation at large, through the Euratom Treaty. and through the environmental law. These two go well together in order to ensure that there is a high level of transparency. In the body of the Euratom Treaty, we have the directive on the safety of the installations and the directive on the safe management of the radioactive waste. Both of them, they provide for consultation processes of the local population when key steps of the licensing are taken. I think this is extremely important to keep in mind, because the trust relationship indeed with the territory and with the local people is a key in the acceptance. If I move to the environmental legislation, the environmental impact assessment, both the strategic one and let me say the more detailed ones, are another two steps that bring together the local, national and international communities through the realization of nuclear projects, and they are the how can I say, the guardian of the involvement of the population. There is as well another directive, which is the Public Participation Directive, which also ensures that there is that. There is more, because on the territories there are also the local communities, and in France this is a very well-known institutionalized way of working, where there is a constant dialogue between the industry, the local governments, and the population through the CLEs. This is a very important thing. This becomes, and I link to your question, this becomes even more important when you think about the small and modular reactors. Why? Because the small and modular reactors are going to be deployed more, let me say, spread in the territory. If they are going to be useful for decarbonization of industrial processes, they are going to be put next to where they are needed. They are going to be put to replace district heating in cities like Helsinki. They are going to be distributed on the territory, and therefore, you know, this level of transparency, accountability, and link to the communities is something that has to be particularly developed. On cybersecurity, I think that this is also a key issue. You know, the whole cycle of the nuclear industry in the past 50 to 60 years is built upon being sure that there is no unauthorized access to materials that are not diverted for different purposes than the civil purposes, that sabotage and theft of materials, of equipment, of data, or the possibility of disrupting operations of facilities is not there. So the safeguards of both the physical infrastructure, but also the control of the infrastructure, which is through the application of digital technologies, are key to ensure the safe and secure deployment of that. So I think this is a challenge, and the industry is indeed in a transition, and this is something where there has to be full attention at all the levels, you know, of government and in Europe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Massimo. I think you touched on a very important element of how complicated it's going to be, but it's something that can be done, I believe. It's very possible to do. I'm going to move to you, Patrice. Taking from what you have told us earlier on about Ciego project, it sounds like an exceptional adventure for its host regions. How does the project contribute concretely to the well-being of its host region? creating a positive impact while generating a dynamic environment for local communities.
Maybe we can share the answer. On peut partager la réponse. Une première partie pour vous. I will start and I will let the mic to Mr. Dumont to complete. But I was explained before, we have to remember that we are on a very rural area on the territory for the CGO project. And we are there thanks to our underground laboratory for more than 20 years now. And during this time, we build, as I said, trust, but we also prepare the territory and we create a lot of positive things linked to the project. For example, as more or around 1,000 jobs were created thanks to the underground laboratory, and we plan to create around 2,000 for the construction part of the CGO project, and then a little bit more, a little bit less when we will be in operation period. But that was and will be something very important and a very high benefit for the territory. We can speak also about the impact of the EDF, CEA, or Orano network. They decided to launch on this territory new facilities. They decided to use the CGO project as a showcase for the Meuse and Haute-Marne territory and to help them to attract new populations. For example, some types of different experts. I didn't mention it, but when I said we create around 1,000 jobs, a part of them are coming to live there with their own family to participate to a new, let's say, dynamic in the territory. And CGO, as an important project on a very rural area, is not going to change everything, but it has to be used as a leverage effect, and everybody has to understand that it's an opportunity. Of course, you can be for the project or against the project, but if the project is coming, and we believe that it will come and we will receive the authorization, everybody has to work to make from this project a huge opportunity for the territory, not only on the nuclear field. We discuss a lot about training programs and educational programs, for example. It's not going to be limited on the nuclear field, and the territory will need to use it as a strength for its future. So I will be short. CGO project is already a very big and interesting opportunity for the territory, but I truly believe it will be a bigger opportunity on the years coming if the local officials know how to use it. Because in fact, in this project, we have plenty of stakeholders. Everybody has to work with a lot of respect for the other one, but everybody has to, let's say, take his part on the project and on the solution, on the opportunity. We are the industrial. We have to discuss with the population. We have to be transparent, as it was said. But we don't have to make the local development. That's the job of the politicians. And they have to do it. They have to use the project to develop their own country, their own territory.
Thank you so much. Yes, it sounds like a big project. I don't know what we can do to help you get the project authorized. Where do we protest? I'm joking. Everywhere. But we've run out of time, I'm told. So unfortunately, we are going to have to wrap up the session today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being with us here today. And as we draw the curtain on this enlightening discussion, I was struck by richness of the insights shared today, the exploration into territorial development, guided by Jerome, Patrice, and Christophe. illuminated the intricate relationship between nuclear projects and regional landscapes, and the fusion of local representatives and European perspective showcased the dynamic interplay that shapes the future of our industry. Estelle de Roche eloquently shared with us through the challenges terrain of sustainable development, and I'm inspired by your vision, Estelle, and your leadership, which underscores the industry's commitment to environmental responsibility and a sustainable future. The digitalization frontier, navigated by Eugel and Vincent, highlighted transformative power of technology in reshaping the nuclear industry. I can safely say that your insights into the digital landscape serve as a compass for navigating the evolving challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. A special appreciation to you, Massimo, who your perspective added depth to our discussions, anchoring them into the broader European context. Your insights into the European Commission's role emphasized the collaborative efforts necessary for advancing the nuclear industry. Ladies and gentlemen, as we leave this forum today, please let us carry forward the collective wisdom shared here today. The seeds of innovation, sustainability, and digital evolution have been sown. It is up to us as stewards of the nuclear industry to nurture these seeds into a flourishing future. Please give a big round of applause to our speakers. Another appreciation goes to the organizers of the WNE for providing us this platform. And may the conversations sparked here resonate beyond these walls, shaping the future where nuclear energy stands as a pillar of progress. From myself, Princess Mtombeni, until we meet again on the horizons of shared exploration.